Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new spoiler breakdown of a new TV show. Today, we're finally going to break down episodes 1 through 3, full spoiler breakdown of Peacemaker exclusively on HBO Max. My name is Max, and welcome back to a brand new TV show spoiler review here on Max Movies. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. I do movie reviews, these type of TV show reviews, streaming platform reviews, movie rankings, box office breakdown shows. Subscribe, ring the bell if you're new to the channel. Every single Thursday, we'll be doing our spoiler breakdowns as this show goes from 3 episodes a week to weekly beginning next week. Also, comment down below your thoughts. First of all, let me know your thoughts on The Suicide Squad. It's one of my favorite films of last year. You can click that review at the end of the video, leave that video link up top. Well, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Were you excited for the Peacemaker show? You're getting exactly what you wanted. Are you disappointed with the first 3 episodes? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you like the video, the thumbs up button. Let's get started. So I was just mentioned how much I really loved the Suicide Squad. It's definitely my favorite film in the DCEU, if it counts, I guess, in the DCEU. One of my favorite DC films in a while. I mean, Joker and that for me have been some of their strongest films. And I was just pumped to see a spinoff from one of the characters, just because the box office was so down for the Suicide Squad. And it just didn't feel like there was hope for many of these characters moving on. The fact that James Gunn had already written and mostly directed a Peacemaker show for HBO Max got me very excited. And this is coming from someone who's not really ever a big John Cena fan in the WWE. As someone, if you know me personally, if not, I'm a huge wrestling fan. Every single day I'm consuming it. And obviously I grew up when John Cena was basically in his prime in the WWE. So seeing him now stretch out to be the actor, very much like The Rock and Dave Bautista, it's been interesting seeing Cena stretch out of it. But this so far, at least in the Suicide Squad alone, has so far been his best character, his best role, and his best performance that he has given in a movie. So I was excited to see a Peacemaker show. The trailers kind of sold me on it. James Gunn, the fact that he wrote the show and directed many, I think 7 of the 8 episodes are directed by Gunn. That got me excited. So let's talk about the first 3 episodes. Now, this is gonna be a lot to break down in one video. Obviously, I'm not gonna go break down scene by scene each episode. That's going to take forever because it is 3 episodes. I'm going to give you my overall thoughts on the show. I'm absolutely loving this show. It's really funny, action-packed, with a lot of characters that I already care about. The team itself is really strong. The cast is really great. So John Cena obviously is back from the Suicide Squad. He's really funny in the show, especially if you watched him in WWE, where in WWE, he was always seen as the most PG superstar, because there was a time in wrestling where it was a strictly TV matured type of entertainment. Then became the World Wrestling Entertainment led by Cena. And that's where a lot of PG, a lot more made for kids type of stuff. And that's where Cena really thrived. So it's actually funny if you grow up like me in, watching WWE in an era where Cena was kind of the face of the PG, I guess, era, and seeing him now in a pretty hard R superhero comedy is hilarious. That part itself is hilarious, but the performance is really funny. The situations that Peacemaker is in, you get some background on his father, who's played by Robert Patrick, who at the end of episode 2 is put in prison because he is framed by Stephen Agee, who's also back from Stephen Agee, and Jennifer Holland are back from the Suicide Squad as well, coming back as helpers. They were Waller's people. Now they're working on this outside the books case. But Steve Agee frames Robert Patrick for being the one who was jumping off the buildings in the beginning of episode 2, that he was the one who did. So Robert Patrick's character is back in prison. Really cool to see Robert Patrick back in a mainstream thing, obviously back with Terminator, but he's just a fantastic actor, and seeing him, I mean, he's not a likable person now. He's a racist, sexist. I mean, he is all over the place, but Robert Patrick does do a great job in the show. But as I said, it's really won by John Cena. He's a really actually likable character, because while the show could at times feel like they're force feeding you to feel empathy for the character, you kind of already felt that in the Suicide Squad. How, yes, these are all kind of bad people, but John Cena did take, Peacemaker makes a big move by killing Rick Flag at the end of the Suicide Squad, which then set up the show. Now, another question a lot of people look at is that, do I have to see the Suicide Squad to understand what's going on here? I would say definitely yes, because from a character point of view, you need to know Peacemaker's journey from being in prison to going on that mission for Project Starfish and the Suicide Squad. It also gets you familiar with Jennifer Holland's character, who is Amelia, Hardcore, called by Hardcore, and then Steve Agee's character, John Economos. You have to know who they are as well before so. But there's a lot of new characters introduced to the show. Really, really well done. First is Vigilante, played by Freddie Stroma. He's really funny. Has some really funny banter of Cena, especially the third episode where he's kind of hanging out with Peacemaker. Well, in the first episode, we saw the Vigilante, which just kept calling him, voicemailing him. That's what kind of was happening while Peacemaker was in prison. This then sets up the arc of him trying to be Peacemaker's best friend. They hang out, they shoot guns. And then when finally Peacemaker's going to shoot the senator who they were assigned to kill in the first episode, he's kind of strung along. And the fact that Vigilante was the one who killed 3 of the 4 butterflies, as we learn as the main villains of the show, killed the 3 of the 4 of them, 2 children and the wife. He is a big factor in the remainder of the show because Peacemaker couldn't pull the trigger in episode 3. It was Vigilante who took that responsibility. His toes were almost getting cut off. It's a really inappropriate, violent sex scene. I mean, this is a totally different type of superhero show, live action, that you see normally in a DC canon. Obviously, the Suicide Squad definitely felt like that being a pretty much, rated R DC film in the DC mainstream universe. Obviously, Joker, but again, that's not really in the DCU. The fact that this technically is just shows you how raunchy it's a very raunchy show, but I really love the comedy in the show. Another new character that we need to deserve a lot of is that Danielle Brooks, who plays Leota Adebayo. Really funny character, definitely one of the stronger characters, definitely my favorite new character in the show. She's kind of has this relationship with Waller, and we see one kind of cameo scene where she's FaceTiming Waller, played by Viola Davis from the past 2 films. So seeing them interact, and she called her mom. So that is something that is secret, that she is, I guess, the daughter of Waller, but she has her wife, but she's, again, she's very much unknown. And Hardcore keeps asking her, like, what qualifications do you have to be here? But she has some of the funniest jokes, some of the funniest banter, and she's the first person to kind of see empathy for Peacemaker. She'll be, I think, the driving force for him to be not, I guess, a good side, but just to see some more empathy for the whole group. I think she will be the driving force of that. Some of the jokes of Eagly are really funny. James Gunn's directed. He definitely directed the first episode. Again, I was skipping through some of the credits, obviously, to see those post-credit scenes at the end. So he definitely directed the first episode. The intros for the show are hilarious. So James Gunn directed 1, 2, and 3. So he did these complete first 3 episodes. On IMDb, there's 8 episodes, and he's credited for 7 of the 8. So this really is his show. And it feels like a James Gunn property, just like the Suicide Squad. I think if you really loved the Suicide Squad, you like that type of raunchiness, you like that type of comedy, you like that type of violence, you're going to really love Peacemaker. Now, if you were a person who did not like the Suicide Squad, don't get the James Gunn humor, don't even like the Guardians films, just don't like raunchiness or violence like this show might not be for you. It does definitely feel like the same universe as this is with Suicide Squad. So if you like that movie, which a lot of people I know did, definitely watch Peacemaker. If you didn't, it is not going to win you back, is what I'm going to say. So overall, I'm completely enjoying Peacemaker on HBO Max. The first 3 episodes dropped today, and then for the rest of the 5 weeks, we're going to get episode by episode. So that's what HBO Max usually does. 3 episodes to start, and then they go week by week. So we're going to break down episode 4 next week here on the channel, as well as the next 5 weeks, the next 5 Thursdays. We're going to break down Peacemaker. Also, if you're new to the channel, I've been breaking down Boba Fett every single Wednesday, and just starting on HBO, as well as Euphoria. Every single Monday, we're going to break down Euphoria. Coming to the channel tomorrow will be my Scream review, the new Scream 5. I'm seeing that in theaters tomorrow. That'll also be followed by a Hotel Transylvania 4 review as well coming. A lot of other reviews. I'll see you guys soon.